Oh, hey everybody, it is 3 o'clock. It's time to do live from Driving Sports TV. We are here to talk about the new Ford Maverick Tremor. It's pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to this one. So let's go ahead and we will be right back. I'm going to go ahead and kick off with a little intro, and then we will get right into it. Ready? Let's do this. Hey everybody, I'm Ryan Douthit with Driving Sports TV. My headphones are a little low here. Let me turn these up to make sure I can hear everything okay. How the heck is everybody doing on this? What is it? Is it Monday? How is it like Ford to drop big news on a Monday? Yeah, I'm pretty excited. As many of you know who watch the show regularly, we had a Ford Maverick Lariat with the FX4 towing and Lariat packages that we had for 10 months, which was a really long time. It's a vehicle that I bought. We did a whole bunch of videos with it. I think it appeared in 10 videos overall, something like that. And I just had a heck of a lot of fun with it. It was something that I wanted to buy. I bought it, and I just really, really love the product. Now, why did I get rid of it? Well, because I wanted something else. I have a whole video about getting rid of the Maverick, which you can see over on the main channel. While we're getting kicked up here, we're going to dive into the Tremor in just a little bit. But first, why doesn't everybody give a shout out? Let's see who I'm talking to here over in the chat. And say where you're from. Tell me who you are. And do you plan on getting a Maverick Tremor? Of course, we haven't gone over the specs yet, but I'm sure many of you have already seen the press releases and all that stuff because news travels fast with the internet. So while we're waiting for everybody to kind of poke their head in and say, hey, I'm going to tell you what I've been up to lately. I sold my house and I'm moving. So that's been fun. We have, even though I'm not filming any reviews this week, we are putting more videos out. I preloaded a few reviews, so there's not going to be any pause. We have another video coming out this weekend. You know, I should probably figure out which video it is of the 3 that I have queued. It could be the Audi A6 All-Road. Not sure. Maybe I should figure that out. Anyway, so who do we have here? We have Kelly Davidson, hello in the chat. We got Sanjeev. How you doing? And Marco Ramos, who says, I literally just commented on TFL's video saying, this is the one that you, as in me, have been waiting for the whole time. And that is true. Ever since I got this Maverick, and after the first off-road test adventure, I said this thing needs just a little bit more. And the just a little bit more is that twin clutch rear that we have in the Badlands version of the Bronco Sport. And of course, the Bronco Sport is basically the SUV version of the Maverick. Not quite as big as, I mean, it's not quite physically the same size as the Maverick, but the underpinnings are basically the same. And it's pretty exciting. So who else do we have here over in chat while we're waiting for everybody to kind of join in? That's the thing about these live things. It gives you first an opportunity to talk to me directly, but also it gives, me an opportunity to talk to you, which, it doesn't always happen. You guys post comments. I try to answer as many as I can, but we have a lot of filming. We have a tight schedule. We got a lot going on. Sometimes I don't get to everybody's questions. So what do we have here? We have Colt over in North Carolina. My family lived in North Carolina about the time that the state was invented. Yeah, my family lived there before it was a state. And then shortly after state, I still have some like 8th generation Douthits still live there. And yes, I am actually related to them, and we have them in the tree, and we can actually connect everything, which is pretty awesome. But my family line actually went across basically traveled with the expansion of America to Arkansas and then jumped off to San Francisco sometime in the early 1900s, I think. Anyway, here nor there. Just some fun stuff. Yeah, so who else do we have here? We have, is that Jorge from Dominican Republic? Awesome. And then John says he just canceled his top spec Maverick Lariat FX4 tow package. It sounds like you got the same exact Maverick that I bought, and glad you did. Now you can order the Tremor. Yeah, we kind of knew the Tremor was coming because it's kind of the worst kept secret that's out there. Because Spy Shots started leaking about 2-3 weeks ago, and we saw the orange little highlights. And what is it with the orange highlights? I mean, Subaru, or copper highlights, Subaru does it on their Wilderness, and now Ford is doing it on the Maverick Tremor, which you will see. We have tons of video of the Maverick Tremor. Yeah, it's actually just B-roll. We haven't actually physically seen one of these because these have not physically been built yet. They will be built soon. Okay, well, enough of me yammering. Let's go ahead and we'll jump into B-roll of the car. I got all the specifications of it. We'll talk about it. Throw your questions out. I'll answer them the best I can, but keep in mind, I only know what Ford has told me so far because these things technically don't really exist yet. Nobody can buy one, and we'll get to when and where and pricing and all that. I do have a lot of that, so let's go ahead and jump in. Oh, before I do, hey to Kincaid over in BC. Love BC, so cool. I actually have an aunt who lives in BC, in the middle of nowhere, BC, just the way she likes it. So, okay, let's go ahead and kick this off, and let's see if I can do this smoothly, because I am a one-man band today. So let's see what I can do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and fancy wipes. Okay, so let's talk about the new Maverick Tremor off-road package. So they just talked about this, they just revealed this information today. Like the other Tremors that are available, and there are several other Tremors, basically the Ranger, the F-150, and the Super Duty can all get the Tremor off-road package added to either the XLT or the Lariat trims of the vehicle. Of course, you need to have a slightly upper or tippity top trim to be able to add Tremor. Now, I'm just going to pause this for just a brief moment. The one thing I want to kind of mention here, for those of you late to the Tremor show, not just this show, I just mean Tremor in general, is way, 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 way back. Ford had a Tremor package, but that basically just added like a big sound system. Like literally, it was a sound system option. You had the Tremor package, you tremored those bass beats. That's what it was all about. These days, that's still good, But these days, it's more about off-road capability, so they've repurposed it, and basically it adds an extra layer of off-road capability to the vehicle in which it is applied. Think overland crowd, think, off-roading, but not quite Raptor levels of off-roading, kind of the different type of off-roading. Not jumping dunes, but maybe chasing trails. So hopefully that sets up the idea here. So let's go ahead and start this B-roll back up. And we have done reviews of the F-150 Tremor, and we've also done a review of the Ranger Tremor last year. So the new Tremor package available on XLT and Lariat Mavericks, it gives a 1-inch additional lift, which is important. So that new ground clearance is 9.4 inches, which is really good for a little compact crossover. I mean, that's better than a lot of trucks with off-road packages from the factory. Excuse me one second. Thanks. Let's see, moving on. Design cues. I'm just kind of going over the press release here. Yeah, okay, so this is the exciting thing. They didn't just add badges and stickers. Oh, you can see the whole Tremor family there. That's a good shot. On the right-hand side, you have the Super Duty, and then the F-150, and then the Ranger, and then the Maverick Tremor editions all in a line. And of course, the Super Duty and the F-150 and the Maverick all are new. The Ranger is still kind of old. It's based on the decade-old chassis that's been circulating around the world. In Australia, they've already announced the new one. So hopefully next year, we will actually be driving one of those new Rangers, and hopefully they will have a Tremor edition. So what's new with this Maverick Tremor? You get a 1-inch lift for more ground clearance. They now have trail control, which is a cool feature on the Broncos, the Bronco Sports. Unique off-road tailored front and rear suspension. Plus, they've actually improved the approach and departure angles. Sorry, let me go ahead and get that going again. And of course, it's only available on the model with the 4-wheel drive and the 2-liter EcoBoost engine. And they do now have a locking twin clutch rear. Okay, so let me talk about this twin clutch rear just for those of you who are new to the show, because I've talked about it a lot in the videos with the Bronco Sport. So the twin clutch rear basically will send power to both wheels. It does use wheel braking, so if one spins, it'll put a brake on, send power to the other wheel. That's all fine. The twin clutch unit will actually lock those two together and rotate them. But unlike an actual locking differential, it's more of a suggestion. We've seen it in our slow motion video of the back of the Bronco Sport climbing in the snow, that if the intelligence system feels it can shift power left and right and get a better result, it will. So it's not as predictable as, say, a Ranger with a rear locker or an F-150 with a rear locker. But it does add capability. I was just floored with the capability of the Ranger and F-150s when equipped with the Tremor package. I'm sorry, let me phrase that. I wasn't floored by those. Those made sense. I was floored by the Bronco Sport Badlands when it had the twin clutch rear. It did way more than I expected a vehicle of that size to be able to accomplish in terms of climbing, because we climbed rocks, we climbed snow, we climbed all sorts of things with that. Let's see, moving on. We'll talk about when you can order it soon. Okay, differential lock. Oh, you'll have 5 drive modes. So again, they're going to switch up the drive modes. Trail control it has, which is that like cruise control system. It's kind of like Toyota's crawl control, but not quite as capable. Crawl control adds greater capability to the vehicle. I feel trail control just kind of is more of a cruise control system. So if you approach it from that perspective, it's not really adding a lot of capability. It's just making it a little bit more automatic. I think it's a fine system. It's just not as good as Toyota's version of the same. But I think they're probably targeting slightly different audiences on that one. And then they have new shocks, 1-inch increased ride height. And then those approach, departure, and breakover angles are all improved as well. I have the numbers here on those. The Maverick does sacrifice a little bit. When you go up to the Tremor, you do lose some of the tow rating. You can only do a max of 2,000 pounds. If you have an FX4 Lariat with the tow package, you can do 4,000 pounds. So for the viewer, which viewer was that said they just canceled? John, for you who canceled your Maverick Lariat FX4 with the tow package, if you wanted to tow, 4,000 pounds, you probably shouldn't get the Lariat because that'll exceed what they want. And then the payload is 1,200 pounds on the Tremor edition. The standard edition, I believe, is 1,500 pounds. Okay, that's great. The price, it comes with its own unique 17-inch wheels. And speaking of wheels, they don't specify which tires. I assume that they're going to come with Falken Wild Peaks because that is usually their top end one, but it could be anything. Basically, I think they put what's available on there. Hopefully it's not the base level Scorpion ones that I got on my FX4. Those were not very good. There are some good all-terrain Scorpions, but the ones that they include were not great. But I want to mention the tire just briefly. So on our Maverick FX4 Lariat, we put 245/65 R17s on. Now, what Ford has done is they've put 235s compared to our 245/65 R17. So they're not going to be quite as big as the ones we put in there. So you could still do one more plus size up if you wanted just a little bit more, because we had no rubbing with those tires. And that actually did gain us a slight amount of lift because slightly bigger tire, more ground clearance. That's the way it works, and it's great. Let me see. Where's those departure angles? Those were in here somewhere. Sorry, shuffling papers. Shuffle, shuffle. Once we have a full news crew in here and I have a producer and somebody yelling in my ear, you won't have to see me do this. That may never happen because that doesn't sound like fun. There we go, approach angle. So the standard Maverick, and I kind of complained about this a little bit in my video, not directly, I didn't directly complain about the approach angle, but it was my whole, concern of not being able to go onto very extreme off-road adventures is you're kind of really worried about hitting that nose because the approach angle on the standard all-wheel drive is 21.6 degrees. The new one is 30.7, which I think is pretty good for what it is. And then the departure is now 22.2, which is 1 degree more, not huge. And then the breakover is now 19.9 versus 18.1 in the standard edition. Oddly enough, there's actually a little bit of passenger volume is slightly different on the Tremor. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if they redid the seats, but it's 100.3 in the standard and it's 100.5 in the Tremor. So there is something that's going on there to make just things slightly different in terms of measuring. And then weight does not go up substantially. The standard EcoBoost with all-wheel drive is 3,731 pounds. The Tremor is 3,870. So 10, 9, 8, 7, what is that? 70, that's about 70 pounds more. Not that significant. So we're looking at the shots here. You can see that. Actually, before I comment on the shots, we'll just go ahead and let this loop. I'm going to go ahead and dip in for some questions to see if anybody has any questions. So, Ryan, can you mute the B-roll? Oh, sorry. Is the B-roll getting really loud? Yes, I can. Thank you for bringing that up. I should have paid attention to earlier. So that should bring that down pretty substantial. Thank you. Sorry about that. So it is now... I would assume it is the same Wild Peak Marco, but the thing to keep in mind these days is nothing is final until it's actually on the showroom floor, unless you happen to know because you have an inside source of some kind. But until we can actually confirm that, so far all Ford's official stuff has all said just it is all-terrain tires. Because when I got the FX4, it said it came with all-terrain tires, and those were Pirelli Scorpions, which were not great. One of the questions out there is whether or not there is a front camera, as in the BS. Oh, well, that should actually be a very easy answer, because to have a front camera, you have to have a camera on the front of the vehicle. I actually have a photo right over here. So while you're watching that B-roll, let me just take a quick look at the close-up of a photo that I have. Yeah, there's no camera on the front of that. They have the sensor for... So the one they're using in the photos, you can tell, is a Lariat, because if you look right below the badge, as it passes, see that square? That's the distance detection for the cruise control, which is only available, the adaptive cruise control, which is only available on Lariat. Above that should be the little camera, and I do not see it. So I would assume that's a no. However, this is a pre-production vehicle, and again, everything can change at the last minute. So I would say yes. Yes as in no, it does not have it. Sorry. Not very clear, clearly. And by the way, can I mention that it's really surprising? I kept the audio up on the B-roll because this was B-roll provided by Ford, and it's so rare for any B-roll to actually include audio, and I always forget that Ford actually does include audio in their clips, and that's actually really good, but on the other hand, it drowns me out. Sorry about that. This is where it would be really helpful to have a producer listening at the same time, or even an audio mixer, but no, because we're low budget here, baby. Excuse me. It's not the COVID. Let's see. Quite curious if it's going to be switched to a 2023 model year for Kincaid who pre-ordered. Yeah, that's a good question. I would say there's a strong possibility of that. I know some people are already getting rolled over to 2023s. It's going to be interesting. Availability is really tight, and I know, like with their new Ranger launch, they have a very small window to produce the Rangers because it's on the same factory as the Bronco. And then this one is produced in, I think it's Chihuahua, Mexico, but I know it's in Mexico. And I don't know what the capacity of the thing is. I know they're building every single one they can make right now. So they're just not building fast enough, clearly, because people are still waiting and still waiting. I don't know about you. Are you guys excited for this chip shortage to end so you can actually order what you want and get it in a reasonable time? I'm sick of this. I mean, really. It's been what? It's been 2-3 years. And last year they said, oh, this year it'll be fixed. Well, we're now in August. Not fixed anytime soon. I just wish either A, they would be able to tell us a more reasonable timeline on these things, or B, just fix it. I don't know. How hard is it to build chips? I know it's difficult. My uncle's actually does chip development, but still, the layman in me would like to say, just hit a button and make it happen. I know that's ridiculous. Colt, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Anybody else have any questions on anything else going on in life right now? This truck looks amazing, by the way, and I love this B-roll. And you can tell, so post your comments on anything in life and whatnot in the stream comments. I'll get to those in just a moment. But I'm just going to take a look at this. Now, I like this color of this truck. I think this color is a really cool one. It's a little bit grayer than the blue that we had. And I think this is a nice look. I really like it. And then, of course, what they're demonstrating here isn't just the fact that you can whip it around tight courses. They're also demonstrating the fact... My video just stopped. Why did my video just stop? But they are demonstrating the fact that you can put a truck in it, which is neat. Oh, it stopped because that was the end of the reel, I think. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to start that back up again. Are we going to play? There we go. Okay, I'm just kicking back up again. What do you guys think of those wheels with a single spoke, a different color? I know Ken Block kind of popularized it a year or so ago. And now this is manufacturer putting it on a production vehicle. I'm not so sure how I feel about it. It seems to me like one of those things that's going to be dated really fast, like, popped collars in the 80s. Okay, granted, that did last for a few years, but after a while, you're like, really? Oh, okay. I like that they painted the recovery hooks on the front there. That's a good look. Even the accents in the grill are kind of nice, I think. I do wish that the cameraman would sync his shutter speed, though, so those lights wouldn't flicker. The flicker is caused by missynchronization between the shutter of the camera and the LEDs updating their display. Look how blue that is. I do like that two-tone blue. I think that's great without because like ours had a slight tan insert, and I think this interior just looks way better than the Lariat we're in. The full black seats with just the little trim elements and then the Tremor name. The darker interior. I just think that this interior looks really good. And the orange accents, they really dialed it back on the inside, which is good. And even on the outside, the orange accents or copper, I don't know what color I think they're calling them orange, really do look nice. Now, it is interesting. I don't see those copper accents on the other vehicles, so that seems to be a Maverick specific. Hopefully, they fix some of the like little production roughness in the Maverick from what we saw with the one that we had for 10 months. For those of you, a quick refresher: paint started to kind of pop off the front bumper. It might have been hit by a rock, but I saw no indent where the paint had chipped off, so I think it might have just chipped off. The truck beds on the sides, it was getting a little warped from the plastic, and then the B&O speaker that's ours had BO sound, and it was right in the front center. It was always just a little warped. Now, I knew the vehicle was just going to be turned into the same dealer I bought it at, so it didn't bug me that much. It wasn't something I'm going to have for like 10 years. I'm sure they'll fix it before they sell it to the next person, because I brought it up for them to do that. But, just these little things. Also, I didn't point it out because I forgot to shoot video of it. But actually, if you look at the truck bed of the Maverick and you pull the gate down in the back and you look in the side where the metal pieces are kind of welded together, the weld didn't look very good. So, there's these little things that hopefully, mine was one of the first ones actually built. The one that we had for the show. So I'm hoping that they've ironed out a lot of those production issues now that they're kind of well underway and have produced a whole bunch of them. I'm starting to see these on the road everywhere. And yeah, it's great. For stuff like this, it is a great little, just a truck to have fun with in a sand pit, Hopefully they have some recovery tracks if they get anything too soft. Although that looks kind of moist. I think they'll be fine. So let's hit the questions here. What do we got? Is the Bronco recall affecting the Maverick? Hard to say. With a company the size of Ford, I would assume not, but you never know. Everything is so short everywhere. John is asking, do I miss my Maverick? Not usually. I will say that my new vehicle does not, because I haven't put the video out onto what I bought for replacement. We'll just say there's some conveniences in the Maverick that I really liked that I do not have anymore. And I would like them. And I'll cover that in the video, which should be coming out in the next couple weeks. We need to film it. We haven't even filmed it yet. We should be filming it tomorrow, I think. Kincaid says, I'm not sure I love the styling of the Tremor. I'll definitely be sticking with my non-Tremor Lariat. That's probably a good idea, especially you'll get that 4,000-pound towing limit. This one only being able to do 2 definitely will limit its options for people who just need a little bit more towing. But fun fact, U-Haul, I don't know how it is at the U-Haul dealer. We'll just say the U-Haul website will not rent you a car trailer if your truck will not tow more than 5,000 pounds. 5,000 pounds or higher, that's the cutoff. So we have a side-by-side that we have for a 3-month review. You'll see it in an upcoming video. And it's not a car. It actually is not terribly heavy, but we need to put it onto a car carrier, and we don't happen to have one. So I was going to rent one, and on their website, at least, they say they will not rent one to somebody with a Maverick. They don't say Maverick specifically, but they say you have to have a 5,000-pound. Your vehicle that you're specifying at the time of pickup has to tow more than 5,000 pounds, which I was a little surprised by. I didn't actually know that. Wish everybody wouldn't use orange accents for the trail version. Yeah. I forgot the Honda Trail Sport also has the orange accents. Orange is the new red, right? Is there any word on a new trim package, how it'll affect fuel economy? No word, but it will. I guarantee it. You're going to lose probably with the extra ground clearance, and it depends on how aggressive the tire. If it's just like a Wild Peak or something like that, then you're probably going to lose 1-2 MPGs, I would expect. And you'll probably actually lose more real world, because once you start going up to like 80 miles an hour, that's outside of the test cycles that they use for measuring MPGs, and that affects slightly lifted vehicles even worse. So you should see, you're definitely going to see lower numbers there. But if you really want economy, you might want to hold out for what is, I consider, the inevitable all-wheel drive hybrid version. Nothing's been announced. Nothing is official at all. I am just guessing that they're going to make one because it's kind of obvious to me. But, what do I know? I just review cars. Now, I'm curious, did they update Sync? No, Sync is still Sync 3, which is fine. I have no problems with Sync 3. It works. It's basic. It's nice that they don't actually require you to you know, take over all the buttons. I liked the physical switchgear on the Maverick. I thought that was one of the nice things, especially, I mean, I test so many very expensive, very loaded vehicles where everything is now, you know, they all have Tesla-ritis, where they want to be like Tesla and they have everything on the display screen. And it's just annoying. Beep, 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 wipers on, you know, stuff like that. All I want to do is hit a button. I just want to turn a knob. I don't really want to, because I find that more intuitive. Screens are not intuitive for the most part. You know, they're intuitive, I think, for music and stuff like that, because that makes sense. But, you know, just for turning your climate control or your seat warmers on, that's the worst. You know, seat warmers, I just want to hit a button, turn it on. I don't want to be, turn it, let me see the menu. Now let me turn it on like everybody makes you do. It's frustrating. I get frustrated by easy things. Okay, let's see. Is there any word? Okay. One thing I want to mention here, they don't talk about this that much, is that there's not only a Tremor, there also appears to be so they call it a Tremor off-road package, which is what they're showing here and what all the specifications. There's also a Tremor appearance package. So the off-road package costs $2,995 on top of either the XLT or the Lariat price, which we know our fully loaded Lariat was about $35,000. So they're probably adding at least an extra $1,000 for the 2023 pricing. I don't know if it's out yet. I haven't looked it up. And then on top of that, it's another $3,000 if you want the Tremor. That's a lot of beans. But it's interesting that they have a Tremor appearance package. So that probably, they don't specify what that is in the information. Like they don't specifically say this is this and that is that. I would guess it's probably the front and rear bumper and the tires and wheels, maybe. Anybody know? Post it in the comments. Any other comments in the comments? Let's see. Apropos of literally nothing, says Peter. Have there been any updates on the timing of the GR Corolla press drive? Yes. And we are booked for it. When is that? Let me go take a look at my schedule. Seriously? Apparently I did not put it on my schedule, but I am booked. Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm going to turn on some background music while I find this GR Corolla press launch. Okay. This should have been easier to remember. I'm filming it on my birthday, apparently. That's what I'm doing for my birthday. So I'm filming it the last week of this month. So you should see the video. I think the embargo ends to... Oh, we're actually filming two vehicles that day. We're filming the GR Supra with the manual transmission, and then we're also doing the GR Corolla. Basically, so few journalists can actually drive sticks. They just decided to do all their stick shifts together, or at least the sporty ones. So I think, yeah, the GR Corolla's embargo ends on September 7 at 7 a.m. So that's when you'll see that GR Corolla fun. I'm really looking forward to that one. I mean, a good track day is always fun, but for something like the GR Corolla, I am stoked. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the launch. We just did the live stream of that, and that was fun. But yeah, so what do we have here? The practical buttons and layouts is one of the main reasons I was sold on Maverick. Yeah, Kincaid, totally. And I'm really kind of surprised that oh, hey, I did the wrong video. I'm kind of surprised that with a vehicle as new as the Maverick, they decided to go that way. You know, they didn't have to go that way. They could have gone all screen because, you know, lower costs, more expensive screen, but less switchgear. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, thanks guys for popping in. Great. Always fun to do a live. I always tell myself I need to do them more often. And this one was definitely a good motivation to do that. So obviously subscribe to us here at Driving Sports TV Live. We also have the Driving Sports TV main channel, which you need to go subscribe to if you haven't yet. I really appreciate it. This has been Ryan Douthit with Driving Sports TV. And yeah, the new Tremor Edition Maverick. It looks pretty cool. I look forward to testing it. And yeah, we'll take it out to the hill. Oh, by the way, while I've been sitting here, The construction guys have finally gotten back to me that they're finally putting the new roads that we're putting in at the off-road test site. They're finally getting around to those soon. Thank God. Okay, so that's it for me. Everybody have a great Monday, and we'll see you again later. Bye.